What's going on, guys? My name is Lars, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a deck profile, that being Burning Abyss, aka PK Fire. Now, for those of you who don't know what PK Fire is, it is a hybrid deck of both the Phantom Knights engine and the Burning Abyss monsters. Now, this deck has some good synergy, all of them being level 3 monsters that we are utilizing in the deck, being able to spam out rank 3s onto the field, and being able to utilize the Phantom Knight's Fog Blade to be able to negate your opponent's monster effects and to be able to prevent them from attacking. So this deck is really good. It synergizes very well. This deck was very popular about 3 or 4 years ago. It's a good budget option for you to be able to go to your locals or to be able to go to a regional with, and you have a decent chance of being able to top the event. This deck is incredibly powerful. It doesn't mean you have to play with the Block Dragon variant if you want to play with Burning Abyss, because Burning Abyss is very versatile in the way that you can use the monsters or use the engine itself to be able to do what you want on the field. Guys, if you are enjoying this videos and the content I am creating, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of your support. Now, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile, and I'll explain everything like I have been, card by card, to explain my choices, the ratios, and everything that I do, so that way you guys understand. If you're already not familiar with the deck itself, I'll be able to explain it for you so you guys can use this deck to your best ability. And I'm always open to suggestions. If you guys feel like a certain card or certain tech or certain anything is relevant for this build, please let me know. I'll try it out myself. But just know that when I did make this build, it was the most successful for me. I've taken this to my locals now. I came in second place. I played against an Alterdice, a Guru, a Spiral, and a Hero player. Being able to come into second place with this deck, that can just tell you right there and then, this can show you the power that this deck has. So let's get into the deck profile. Okay guys, so here's what the deck looks like on paper. I'm going to just go through each card one by one, just explain what they do very briefly and explain my ratios. Without further ado, let's get started. Starting off with 2 copies of BLS. BLS being able, for those of you who don't know, he has an inherent special summoning condition that you remove 1 light and 1 dark monster from the graveyard. You can special summon him from the hand. To his first effect, you're able to banish the monster face up, but you can't attack that turn. His second effect, if he destroys a monster by battle, he can attack again. So BLS definitely a 2 of. I've seen people run 3. I don't think 3 is incorrect. I just prefer 2 because I've seen him clog up my hand. So I think 2 is just the perfect ratio, at least in my build and the build I have currently right now. Next, we'll move on to the Burning Abyss monsters. 3 copies of Farfa. Now, I'll just explain real quick the Burning Abyss monsters. Again, for those of you who don't know, they all have an inherent special summoning condition that if you control no spell or trap cards, you can special summon them from the hand. Now, if there is a caveat that if there is another monster on the field that doesn't have Burning Abyss in its name, it's destroyed immediately. However, you can circumvent this with something like Cherubini, as long as they're in a spot that he's pointing to. Cherubini prevents them from being self-destructing. So, but yeah, they're just great monsters all the way around. You're just able to special summon them immediately from your hand, but you can only do that again once per turn. The other downside, if you call it a downside, is that their effects don't activate in the graveyard if you use that special summoning from the hand. So, but that's pretty much it. But on Farfa's actual individual effect, his individual effect is that if he's sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 monster in the field, banish it until the end phase. This is just a great piece of removal, being able to remove your opponent's monsters out of the way so you can keep pushing for game. It's just excellent, or even just whatever you need. Like, Farfa is just absolutely excellent. Definitely a 3 of staple in the deck. Next, we move on to 3 copies of Skarm. Skarm is the searcher for the deck. Again, I'm not going to explain their other things. They all have the same just special summoning condition and just self-destruction. Again, just individual effect during the end phase if he was sent to the graveyard, because if he was sent to the graveyard this turn, you can add 1 level 3 Dark Fiend monster from your deck to your hand except for himself. So again, being able to search out any dark Burning Abyss monster, and also Tour Guide from the deck to add it to the hand. And now that Tour Guide is now at 2 because of the previous ban list that just happened, this is fantastic. Just being able to search out your Tour Guide is incredibly powerful. It's really good because Tour Guide essentially is the best normal summon in the deck. But yeah, there's really not too much else to be said about him. There is a combo I'll get into here a little bit later, just with Graf and Seer as well. But Skarm is definitely a part of that. Anyway, moving on, 2 copies of Libic. His individual effect is if he's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 3 Dark Fiend type monster from your hand, but its effects are negated. Again, this just allows you to extend, especially if you mill him off Dante. Just being allowing you to extend from your hand, especially if you draw like multiple copies of like the same card, you're able to send off Libic. You can special summon the other one with his effect. So it's just great to be able to extend with. Not too much else to be said about him. Next to the one-ofs, 1 copy of Calcab. Calcab's individual effect is that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 set spell trap card on the field and return that target to the hand. So again, it's just a one-of, but it's really nice. It does come in handy. Again, you just want extenders to be able to special summon from your hand, but his effect does come up periodically. It's just there for that purpose. Also having just different names to be able to special summon, since these are once per turn. Next, we have Seer. Seer and Graph are both limited for a very good reason. Seer being a monster reborn for the deck, so if he's sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Burning Abyss monster in the graveyard except for himself and special summon it. Obviously you can see how that's really powerful. Graph to me is arguably more powerful, but just as important actually. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Burning Abyss monster from your deck except for himself. So very powerful effects to be able to just pretty much grab anything out of the graveyard and grab anything out of the deck. So really nice, really powerful effects, really powerful monsters. I really wish these would come back to 2, maybe 3 someday. I don't know if we'll ever see that, but yeah, definitely can't go without running these 2. Next we have 1 copy of Rubik. Rubik doesn't actually have an effect. The only thing that's special about him is that he's a level 3 tuner for the deck, but we don't run the Synchro, at least I don't, in this deck, but you can do that. You can run Virgil, but I don't personally run that in the deck. Again, he's just more of an extender to keep pushing for those rank 3 plays and to get Cherubini out on the field, whatever I need him for. Next, 1 copy of Barbar. Barbar is great going into time, being able to target up to 3 Burning Abyss monsters in the graveyard, banish them, and inflict 300 damage for each Burning Abyss monster you banish. So up to 3, so that's 900 damage. I actually, this card, I'm overwhelmed with it, because this is what helped me in the top 4 going into time. It was the only reason I even won was because of Barbar. So Barbar, just being able to push for that, and with the time rules, just a fantastic, definitely a good one of. Absolutely don't run without Barbar. Now, if you haven't noticed, if you're already familiar with Burning Abyss, this is pretty much the standard ratios as well. I don't think I'm doing anything new here. I'm not saying anything that you probably already don't know, but just for those new players who don't know, these are pretty much the standard ratios I'm talking about when it comes to the Burning Abyss monsters. Next, we have 1 copy of Alec. Alec, if he's sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, negate its effects to the end of the turn. That's actually a really good effect. It's just, it doesn't come up as much as you would think, but his effect is still really powerful. Again, it's a good effect, and just to being able to extend and get into those rank 3 plays, and to get the Cherubini. So that's it for the Burning Abyss monsters. Next, we move on to the Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Rhino Warrior, again, is a rank 3 monster. However, his effect is actually really good. Fiend monsters you control, except for himself, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So that's incredibly powerful, being able to prevent your Burning Abyss monsters from self-destructing. So he's one of the better normal summons in the deck. Also, when he's sent to the graveyard, you can send 1 Fiend type monster from your deck to the graveyard. So it's essentially an honorary Burning Abyss monster. You definitely don't want to go without him. Definitely run 3 of these. There's no reason not to. Next, so good, the tour guides. Now we can run 2 of them. So instead of the one of, we now have 2 tour guides, the best normal summon in the deck. If you're not familiar with this card is legendary. It was broken when it came out. This card, if I remember correctly, reached almost the heights of about $200 or more per copy. But yes, tour guide, to her actual effect, is when she's normal summoned, you can special summon 1 level 3 Fiend monster from your hand or deck, but it has its effects negated, which is perfect, because if the Burning Abyss monsters didn't have their effects negated, they would self-destruct upon summon. So tour guide, absolutely the best normal summon of the deck. Moving on, we're moving on to the Phantom Knights. We only run 5, but to start off with, we have the most important one, the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. Boots is fantastic, being able to special summon themselves if there is another Phantom Knights monster on the field. But what's also, I think, more important is that you can banish this card from the graveyard, add one Phantom Knight spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So this is how you're going to get your Fog Blades. You can mill them off Dante, or if you happen to pull one of these and you have them on the field, you can special summon them, make a rank 3. It synergizes with this deck so well, but that's why the importance of Boots is there, to be able to retrieve your Fog Blades out of your deck, so that way you can negate your opponent's monsters, prevent them from attacking, etc, etc. Now we run the one of the Ancient Cloak. The Ancient Cloak he does have an effect that you can target one dark monster on the field, change or if this card is in attack position, you can target one dark monster on the field, change this card to defense position, and if you do, that monster gains 800 attack. So it does do that, but you're not really using it for that effect for the most part. Pretty much when he's milled off, you're able to search out your Phantom Silent Boots, or you can search your Ragged Gloves out of the deck and add it to the hand. He's definitely a one-of. I used to run 2 of them. You can run 2 of them. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just sometimes you can tend to brick with them when you would rather have another Burning Abyss monster in your hand. But that's pretty much it for Ancient Cloak. Next we move on to the Ragged Gloves. The Ragged Gloves is definitely a one-of. You can banish him from the graveyard. You can send one Phantom Knight's card from the deck to the graveyard. So that's really good because the Phantom Knight's Fog Blade is able to revive any Phantom Knight's monster as well, so if you sent that, or you can send out the Phantom Boots to the graveyard to be able to retrieve your Fog Blade. So definitely a good one-of. Again, these are all rank 3. He does have a really good effect too when you're making a Dark Exceed type monster. Using him as material, that Dark Exceed monster will gain 1,000 attack. That's it's pretty good, especially if you're going into your Break Sword. Just really, really, really good card. But again, these are all one-of, so you're only running 5 of the PK or the Phantom Knight cards here. Moving on to the hand traps, we have 3 Ash Blossom. Pretty self-explanatory. Best hand trap in the game, in my opinion. I don't think I really need to explain these too much. Next is the 3 Ghost Ogres. This is light, which is great because you want to be able to get your BLS out of that as well, unless you're getting Dante, into the graveyard. But Ghost Ogre is just really great. Just being able to, when a monster or activates its effect, or when a spell or trap that's already face up on the field activates its effect, you can send that card from the hand to the graveyard to destroy it. So really good card. Definitely a 3-of. Next, we're going with the spells. 1 Foolish Burial. This should be pretty self-explanatory. Being able to send one monster from the deck to the graveyard. These guys all love the graveyard, so really don't think I really have to explain that too much. But yeah, obviously you can send your Farfa, your Skarm, whatever you need. Whatever utility you need, you can do. You need to send Boost to get the Fog Blade, you can do it. You need to send Graph to get a special summon, you can do it. Whatever you need, Foolish Burial is there for that. I really wish this was at more than 1, but it's a little broken, but definitely a staple since we don't have Sekka's Light anymore. Next we move on here. 2 copies of Allure of Darkness. Again, just being able to draw into our deck to be able to grab our key cards for whatever we need. You don't have to run this. I just personally run it just because I want to get to my resources as quickly as possible. This is probably the best draw card in the deck since now that Sekka's Light is at 3. Normally we wouldn't run any of these, but PK Fire wouldn't be PK Fire without any of these. So but yeah, 2 Allure of Darkness. Next we move on to a classic, Mass Change 2. This is how you're going to access your Dark Law, and it's incredibly easy to get Dark Law out of this deck. Your Burning Abyss monsters, all targets to get Dark Law. That's it. Your Phantom Knights here, all targets to get Dark Law. This card is fantastic, and Dark Law can be an auto win card against Spiral. It can be an auto win card against any deck that's choosing to search or uses their graveyard heavily. If you're playing another Burning Abyss player and you're pulling out Dark Law, more than likely you're going to win that match unless they can truly out that Dark Law. So Mass Change 2, just really good, being able to extend, especially when you open with it with 2 Burning Abyss monsters. It's just, it's the nicest feeling in the world, because you can easily put out a Cherubini, you can pull out a Dante and a Dark Law on the same turn. It's so powerful. Definitely run a 2-of. This is such a classic card here for me. Just the memories is fantastic. And then next we have the 3 copies of the Phantom Knight's Fog Blade, being able to negate a monster's effect that it targets, and being able to prevent them from attacking. So the Fog Blade is just a really good piece of interruption for your opponent, being able to stop them essentially in their tracks. It's this just so powerful, just such a good card. So also it being able to revive a Phantom Knights card. If it's in the graveyard, you can banish this card to target a Phantom Knights monster in your graveyard to special summon it to your field. Again, just more extension, being able to make use of your Phantom Knights in the graveyard to extend it into more rank 3s, whatever you need it for. But yeah, that's pretty much it there. Moving on to the extra deck, we have the Beatrice. The Beatrice is fantastic. You can use, you're never going to hard summon this. You're never going to use 2 level 6s to summon this monster. But obviously, with her effect, if you can use 1 Dante of the Burning Abyss to be able to use it. However, you just can't use her effect that turn, but that's not a huge deal. However, her effect is pretty sweet. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card. Send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard. That's a quick effect. Farfa, just to be able to banish like an opponent's monster on their turn, fantastic. Also, if she's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. That being your Pilgrim here of the Burning Abyss, fantastic. Just once she's dead, destroyed, boom, you got Pilgrim. So Beatrice, absolutely. I really wish there was that more than 1, but definitely need the 1 in the deck for sure. Next, the 3 copies of Dante. This is pretty self-explanatory. 2 level 3 monsters, and then you can detach the material to mill 3, or up to 3, I should say. And then if he attacks for whatever reason, or if he attacks, he immediately goes to defense position. This is just really good because he can attack and then make himself a wall. Really good card all the way around. Not too much to be said about Dante. He's pretty legendary. Next, the 2 copies of Breaksword. Breaksword, you can detach one material from this card to be able to target a card in the field and destroy it. So usually you're just targeting him and destroying a card in the field. And however, if he's under Cherubini, he will not be destroyed because Cherubini protects cards that he's pointing to. So you can use this more than once. So it's pretty damn awesome. Next is the Leviair, being able to special summon monsters from the Banish pile. That's pretty damn good, especially moving into Master Rule 5. Next, the Cherubini, the most important summon to me in the deck. You definitely want to go for him first, being able to send a level 3 monster from the deck to the graveyard when once per turn, and he protects the monsters he points to from being destroyed by card effects. So really good card. Next, the basic Nightmare package. Don't really need to explain. The Boral Sword, the Pilgrim, being able to once per turn during either player's turn, you can set 1 Burning Abyss card from your hand to the graveyard to draw 1 card. And then you can send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard if it's destroyed by battle. And then the Dark Claw, being able to just pretty much rip your opponent's hand apart. Just a quick summary. Twin Twisters, just for backward destruction, the 1 red reboot, and then the Wiretap, 3 evenly matched again because the Great Equalizer, 3 Raw Sphere mode, and 3 Droll and Lockbird for your Spiral Mat. Guys, that's going to do it for my deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.